Hey folks, it's Jang here from jangbricks.com with a look at a Mega Bloks Call of Duty Collector's Series set. This is the Ghosts Tactical Helicopter. Comes with 968 pieces officially. I really have to zoom out here to get the whole thing in frame, and it's a good thing I just widened my whole studio setup dramatically 2 days before doing this video, because if I had not, I would not be able to fit it all on screen at the same time. This is a big one. 20 inches from nose to tail, not including the length of the rotor. The rotor span alone is 21 inches. Of course, you've got a good amount of overlap there. So this thing is way more massive than I expected it to be. I mean, you can kind of see the scale in the pictures, but in person, there's your minifig. Wow, that is a big surprise to me. Pun partially intended. And it looks great. You can see exactly what type of craft it is also. It's the famous Blackhawk, the Sikorsky UH-60. It's been used in a bunch of Call of Duty games, including Ghosts, where this one comes from, hence the logo on this one in particular, and the name and everything, and the inclusion of the characters, which we'll take a look at later on. But this is pretty proper for the shape of the thing, for the proportions. It's not a perfect replica. It's pretty close though. It does a lot of things right. The nose and canopy section uses a combination of set-specific and more generic parts, I think to good effect. They brought in some new ones that were really necessary to pull this thing off, but they still used a lot of parts from the existing inventory. So if you wanted to take this thing apart at a later date and use its pieces to make other stuff, you still have plenty of good generic pieces that can be used for all sorts of different things. The windows are see-through. I believe there's just a little bit of tint in them. You've got windows up here on the roof as well. You can see an opening for what would be a small side window there just behind the cockpit area. No glass in that one, or simulated glass, unfortunately. This is a version that has the winglets attached for attaching external fuel tanks. So there's one external fuel tank on either side. It's got the nice struts underneath, nice angling to this, a nice balance between studded tops of surfaces and tiled or smooth surfaces. And they've got a couple of missiles slung under there, which are, I think they're relatively generic and used in other sets, but you can pretend that they are Hellfires pretty easily. The main landing gear look pretty good too, and it's a very smart design with a lot of structural integrity to hold up this heavy model. This model does have the side doors removed, so it's just completely open, and I'll give you a good shot of what it looks like on the inside a little bit later on. There's a look at the engine detail, the cowling around it, and it's fairly simple looking from the outside, but they did give you the nicely angled outlets. The rotor head looks pretty nice, pretty nicely detailed, and it has some things that can be moved. First of all, of course, you can rotate the thing, but it doesn't really spin freely, unfortunately. You can kind of get the thing to get a little bit of momentum there, but it wants to stay at one of these kind of preset locations. You can angle the blades, interestingly enough. You can angle all of those to make it look like you're giving some nice collective input to the thing, or angle just a couple of them to make it look like you're giving just some cyclic input. And for storage, you can put the thing into this position here and rotate the blades back like so. Now it's just going to take up a lot less space if you're just putting the thing on display, or if you want to make it look like it's stowed away. You may have noticed that one of the blades in particular has more bend to it than the others. You can just kind of work that back over time, being careful to introduce a little bit of reverse bend into it. That just happens from the parts sitting on store shelves. The tail is shaped very nicely. Got a little bit of kind of dithering effect in there that's required to use just regular brick pieces. But I think for the parts they use, they've come up with a very nice shape. You've got your horizontal stabilizer back here. The tail gear is hinged, so you can give a realistic turn to it. Real rubber tire, proper indicator lights, and you can see that the tail rotor is canted just like on the real craft. I said I'd show you what this looks like on the inside, so let's get to that right now. I'm just gonna grab the thing brutishly and pull off the roof. All comes off as one big old assembly with the rotors and the engines and part of the roof over the canopy. And that lets you see the cavernous interior. Let me just pull out this fast roping line. You've got 2 seats up front, pilot, co-pilot, 1 single control stick, we'll look at that more closely, and just a ton of open space, only 2 seats back here for your passengers. But instead of putting 3 seats side by side here, they've given you a nice gun holding or weapon holding platform on the back, basically just a pegboard sort of wall with clip pieces that you can move around to hold the different types of equipment. There are also handrails on the sides, and there's an inside look at the pilot's compartment. You can see you get some instruments up there, and there's enough room in there that a designated pilot figure can easily fit in the seat, still leaving plenty of room, kind of aisle space in between there, and you can see he really does grab onto the control stick. On either side, there's also a small little trough where you can temporarily store a sidearm weapon. This is a weird thing to really point out, but this cord that they include for rappelling or fast roping, it's really nice. It's really high quality stuff. I've never seen a construction toy including stuff that's just this nice. It's super flexible, finely braided, and it's made of actual composite material, so the end you can just use a little bit of heat to make it permanently stay there, and that knot will never come out. During the building process, they do give you 2 options for what to put on the end of the line. You can either put this simple thing for attaching anything that's using the standard peg-sized hole, or you can attach a grappling hook. It is kind of a shame that they don't give you a winch or something to wind this up, because if you don't want to use it, you have to either kind of awkwardly stuff it inside or just remove the whole thing altogether. Fortunately, that's not hard. The first 2 figures are officially Hesh and Elias from Call of Duty Ghosts. So official characters. No debatable, hey, that looks like, but I guess it's not because they don't say it is. The third guy though, that's just a generic helicopter pilot, so you can give him any name that you want. You can associate him with an in-game character if you want. Of course, you can do the same thing with the other figures if you want to turn them into other characters. That's all up to you. Personally, I'm very happy to see the Ghost headpiece being used again, because that was first introduced with an exclusive Ghost figure. It was actually called a Ghost figure, not Ghosts figure, that was released with the initial release of the Call of Duty Ghosts game. Had to give you the comparison between those two. The official Ghost Riley figure is not included with this set, but I did want to show you the differences because the head molds are the same, but the print is very different. And speaking of Riley, there's another Riley, Riley the dog, and this one is included with the helicopter set. It's everyone's favorite neural linked, remote controlled combat German Shepherd. And this is another surprise of this set for me. I knew that the dog was included, but I did not realize how much articulation he would have, and that he would be using some common parts with the regular figures. So he's actually compatible with some of the accessories that you can use. For example, if you want him to carry a canteen for you, just hook that up. There you go. If you want him to carry a set of binoculars for you, he's game. Articulation, well, most importantly, you've got the tail, which can come up, can come down. The legs are independently articulatable, just all together. The whole leg can move as one. Can't really get him on 3 legs from what I've tried with him, unless it's kind of in more of a walking pose. But what's really cool about the combination of the legs and the tail is that you can get him just right and he'll actually stand up on just his hind legs. That's useful for setting up an attacking kind of pose, either attacking out of malice or attacking with affection. The entire neck and head can also be pointed down or up, and the head itself is on a ball joint so it can swivel. You can get all kinds of expressions out of him that way. Let's also look at him with his combat gear off. And there he is. All right. Enough about the dog. As with all the Call of Duty sets, a care package is included, and it has a bunch of goodies inside. All of these are extra accessories that can be used with your figures. They can be swapped out with other stuff as you like, or they can be put on other figures you already have. The interesting new thing here is this innocuous little split pipe looking thing. There it is in the hand of a figure, and you may have noticed this little guide attached to the side of the belt here. Those two parts work in concert with one another to give you a nice controlled descent. Drop your figure out of the craft and he won't go all the way down. The main function of this stuff is to allow you to pose a figure in the air like he's in the middle of a rappel or a little fast rope descent. Well, what more need I say? I think this set pretty much speaks for itself. Now, I cannot recommend this for younger kids. I mean, aside from the obvious violent theme of the whole thing, it's not really that great for playability for the youngest kids because of the small pieces, because there are a lot of things that can come apart. But this is recommended for 12 and up, and I definitely think that's very appropriate. A good building experience this was, and you know, at the end of the day, you end up with this beautiful display model that you can be proud of just looking at, even if you're not going to be doing anything with it, not adding any other sets and putting together a whole diorama and everything. This just looks great as it is. So me, I'm very happy with this one. Looking forward to hearing what you think about it though. Feel free to give your honest opinions in the comment section if you like the thing. If you don't like the thing, either way, it's always appreciated when folks share their own opinions. I'm going to go ahead and build some more stuff and bring you some more videos, so I've got more work to do. Hope that you'll stick around because more content is on the way. Bye for now.